right, well, here we are. We departed from Sedona down to 13,000. Deer 3 Whiskey Bravo. 1 second.
Descend and maintain 13,000 feet. Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Okay, so a couple things. We departed Sedona about 45 minutes ago, bound for Aspen, Colorado. So Sedona, Arizona to Aspen, Colorado, about an hour flight. A couple interesting things about this flight is there is no published precision approach into Aspen for runway 33. At least not on the Foreflight app or anything else that I could find. Now, the upside is the weather's perfect. I checked the METAR. The winds are out of the north at about 8 knots. So that's why I'm landing on runway 33, because there's a solid prevailing wind from the north. So I feel like that's what I need to do. The downside is, look in front of us. Oh, wow, that's a lot of mountains. So I've landed at Aspen one time on FSX, and as I recall, this is years ago, I don't know, 15 years ago, 13 years ago, something like that. It was in not the best conditions, but I do seem to remember that it was runway 33. Now, that was a different program, a different sim. This is much more sophisticated. But I figured the weather's perfect, and let's try it. I'm very interested to see how ATC handles all this. Because in terms of the flight plan, that's us. Okay? And there's no approach. There's plenty of published approaches for, not plenty, but there's an approach for the runway that goes in the opposite direction, runway 15. My plan is to come in this way and land. Now, I don't know.
Whiskey Bravo, you are 61 miles southwest. Descend and maintain 11,000 feet. Expect vectors. Visual runway 15 approach.
15? Not again. All right, hold on. We'll acknowledge that. What happens if I select another approach? I know I've been through this before.
Stand by Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Okay, let's say I want visual.
Whiskey Bravo, Roger.
Let's say I want visual runway 33, because that's what the winds would call for. Request approach from controller.
Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo would like visual runway tree approach.
Dare Tree Whiskey Bravo, you are 57 miles southwest. Descend and maintain 13,000 feet. Vectors. Visual runway tree approach.
Oh, that never happened before. Isn't that interesting? That did not happen yesterday when I tried to change my approach into Sedona. One thing I've done different on this flight was I did not delegate ATC to the AI. 3022. So we're below 18,000. So we'll change our altimeter. Let's see how close the sim altimeter is to the nearest altimeter, which is apparently 3022.
Dare Tree Whiskey Bravo, did you hear my last transmission?
Whoops, that's what you get when you delegate ATC, when you stop delegating ATC to the AI. Sorry about that.
Descend and maintain 13,000 feet. Expect vectors. Visual runway tree approach. Circle to land runway 15. Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Okay, so this is a first, folks. This is a first, because they're going to give us vectors apparently to approach to 33, visual approach to 33. Circle to land. I mean, I'm hearing stuff I've never heard before. About 10 minutes from the airport at this point. 10, 11 minutes. Hey, this is fun. This is interesting. I'd much rather be experimenting like this in weather like this than if it was, you know, cloudy and snowy and icy and God knows what else. But I will tell you, that mountain that we're heading towards looks significant. But you know what's nice is if you can see it, you can dodge it. I'd be more concerned about what they call CFIT, controlled flight into terrain, which is what happens when you can't see anything. Anyway, descending out of 15,000 to 13,000. Had a headwind most of the way in, about 20 knots, but yet again, as you see, no wind data. I don't know if that's a bug or if that's just the fact that there's no, turning off the pitot heat, appreciable headwind. Well, here we go. Buckle your safety belts, ladies and gents. Slow us down a little bit more. I'm very, very interested to see how the ATC handles this. This is the first time that I've been able to request an alternate approach where that request was successful. I've made that request before and it just ignored me. God damn it, look at these mountains. Wow. This mountain is what I would think is safe to characterize as tall. Although this mountain's no slouch. I was thinking about the scenery in this game, and yes, the scenery is incredible, but I think that what is the coup de grace, wow, look at, you can almost see the pine needles. The coup de grace is the lighting. It's the lighting. I mean, the sun is setting. It's 5:47 in Southern California, so mountain time, another hour later, and it's so interesting to see how the light plays on the terrain. This could be very interesting or very ugly, depending on how ATC handles this. I hope they don't forget about me. I'd hate to fly into a mountain. Well, actually, I'm not going to fly into a mountain. Wow, look at this. We are at this peak's elevation. I mean, if we were flying directly over this, I mean, I think we could probably stick our hand out and grab some dirt and snow. Well, we're at our assigned altitude now, 13,000 feet. We are still 34 miles from the airport, which means it's out here somewhere. I'm watching this like a hawk because we're less than 9 minutes from our destination. But our altitude seems potentially problematic. I don't know. Hey, this is the fun. This is the adventure of exploring flight sim. You know, I could fly every approach into a major airport and ILS airport runways, but it's fun to challenge oneself and see how it plays out, especially when it's for the first time. I mean, how often can you say you're doing something for the first time in life on a sim like this that you've been playing for 30 years? More than 30 years, God, 85. I think 85 or 86. I was 12 when when I started with this game. Needless to say, if you'd told me then...
3 Whiskey Bravo, contact Denver Center on 134.5.
34.5, Air 3 Whiskey Bravo.
134.5 Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Let's contact Denver Center. Denver Center, this is Air 3 Whiskey Bravo with you at 13,000.
Denver Center, Docker November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo, 13,000 feet.
Boy, that mountain's getting closer and closer.
November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo, Denver Center, continue as planned.
Are you sure?
Altimeter Tree 0.24.
324, let's change our altimeter. Oh my goodness. Am I the only one that has a palpable sense of anxiety that we're headed straight towards that mountain? This is like that scene in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Remember after those Chinese guys bailed out and left him with, what's her name in Short Round? At least we have fuel though. Anyway, if you told me in the mid or late 1980s that it would ever look like this, I'd asked, how long do I have to wait? Okay, so I'm prepared to override air traffic control's instruction to me to fly at 13,000 feet because, well, do I have to say why? In anticipation of that, I'm going to pre-select a higher altitude of 14,000 feet just in case. And it's becoming increasingly clear that it is going to be necessary.
Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo, contact Aspen approach on ONE 2 Tree decimal 8.
23.8, Day 3 Whiskey Bravo.
Going to ONE 2 Tree decimal
Yeah,
8 Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
I'm prepared to, as pilot in command, order that we climb at this point. I just can't see how we clear that peak without climbing. We're close to clearing it. I mean, it's not like we have to do some crazy climb to get over it, but it's concerning to me that ATC would do that. I'm going to deviate left slightly just to give a little extra insurance. It's concerning to me because, I mean, God almighty, if this was IMC and I couldn't see 2 feet in front of me, what would have just happened? I and all of my passengers would have died. Okay, we're all right now. Okay, we're back up. We're up to 14,000. I assume we'll get yelled at here in a second. Yeah, I mean, look at this. Look at this. Jesus Christ. We'd be part of the mountain right now if I hadn't done that. I don't know. Maybe we would have cleared it, but I'm not sure about that. Let's get established back on the nav. Holy smokes. You know what I guess the lesson is in all this? In lousy weather, don't fly to places like Aspen. Got to tune Aspen approach. I forgot to do that. 23.8.
Aspen approach Docker November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo is out at 14,000 feet for 13,000 feet.
Don't be so sure about that.
Docker November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo, Aspen approach, continuous plan. Altimeter Tree 0.25.
3025. Altimeter's
Docker
just...
Tree Whiskey Bravo, descend and maintain 14,000 feet.
Descend to 14,000. I'm at 14,000 feet, stupid. Acknowledge that instruction.
Descend and maintain 14,000 feet Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Now, isn't that interesting, though, because I'd originally been told to descend to 13,000. I, on my own initiative, climbed to 14,000 because I felt
Docker Tree
it was
Whiskey
too
Bravo,
close.
descend and maintain 13,000 feet.
Hey, listen, ATC, I don't know if you can see what I can see.
Descend and maintain 13,000 feet Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
I'm not descending to 13,000. You are crazy. look at this. I don't have 1,000 feet to descend.
Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo, climb and maintain 14,000 feet.
I'm so happy this is happening. You're seeing this with me. My instincts are right. I'm noticing and guessing that ATC slash.
Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo, acknowledge last transmission.
Sorry, I'm guessing that ATC AI has some problems
14,000 feet, Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo.
in these high altitude areas.
Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo, descend and maintain 12,000 feet.
In your dreams, boss.
Descend and maintain 12,000 feet, Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Once I clear this,
Dollar Tree
Jesus
Whiskey Bravo,
Christ.
9 miles at your 12 o'clock. Descend and maintain 13,000 feet, report runway in sight.
Man, they're all over the place on ATC. Okay, he said airport's 9 miles at my 12 o'clock, descend and maintain 13,000.
Descend and maintain 13,000 feet, Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Okay, we're almost over this peak here.
Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo Airport is 7 miles at your 11 o'clock. Maintain present heading and altitude, report runway in sight.
It's out here somewhere. Boy, am I glad we're getting onto the ground here at before nighttime. Jesus. All right, let's begin our descent to 11,000. Acknowledge that last instruction.
Maintain present heading and altitude, Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo.
It's funny, they descend to 13,000 or maintain present heading and altitude, which is it?
Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo, you are 5 miles southwest. Descend and maintain 9,700 feet. Expect vectors visual runway tree approach. Circle to land runway 15.
9,000. 15? Shitwit. The whole point was to land at 3-3. Oh God, here we go again.
Please stand by, Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Holy mackerel.
Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo, roger.
No, why did he tell me?
Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo, descend and maintain 9,700 feet.
Interesting. Couldn't just make this simple,
Descend
could
and
I?
maintain 9,700 feet, Dollar
I could
Tree
have just
Whiskey
flown into
Bravo.
Dallas. Why do I have to pick something complicated? Select another approach. No. So that's interesting. It's listing as an option the only other approach as 15, implying that it already thinks I'm going into 3-3. Then why is it telling me to expect vectors for visual approach to 15? I don't get it. Well, we are virtually on top of the airport, so I'm going to put our landing gear down here in a moment.
Landing gear.
They did say circle to land, which implies, in my book, that it might be one of these situations where you get on top of the airport. We might be damn well on top of the airport. There it is! Alright, good. So,
Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo, please expedite your descent to 9,700 feet.
alright, I'm going to cancel IFR at this point.
Aspen approach, Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo would like to cancel IFR.
Now that I got the runway in sight,
Dollar Tree Whiskey Bravo IF, our flight plan is canceled, radar service terminated.
boy, this is a tricky,
E200. Maintain VFR. Frequency change approved.
tricky approach. Wow. So I'm turning to basically to 150, which is the opposite direction of where I want to land on purpose, so that I can then turn around and head in. Wow, this is the Wild West. Landing gear down. It did say circle to land. I found that interesting, sort of implying we might have to do something like this. You can't just swoop in. Nice weather out. Now I need to watch everything like a hawk here because there are lots of mountains around, and I would rather not die. Very interesting. I'm kind of curious how it would handle an approach like this. About 5 miles from the airport right now, according to my GPS. I'm going to refrain from my normal zoom-ins. Airport elevation's 7,838 feet, so, and we're at 11,900 feet right now, so that means roughly what, 4,700 feet, 4,800 feet AGL. So we're going to do a pretty steep descent here. We are right over the treetops. Jesus, we're going to be over this valley here in a second. Turning base right now. Set our, wow, 500 feet AGL. Okay, anyway, I'm turning base. Now we're going to turn final. Wow, this is absolutely the trickiest approach I've done in the sim. I mean, not even close, actually. Where? Oh, there it is. Okay, I got it. I cannot imagine doing this in any kind of weather. Look at the trees. Look at the trees off our left. Oh my God. Oh my God. Holy shit. Oh my God, my heart's in my throat. Let's pop up in the seat. There's the runway. Okay, killing the autopilot. Deploying flaps. I don't know what kind of approach this is. I mean, my goodness gracious. Is this how they approach from? No wonder all the approaches are done at runway 15. Look at how steep this approach is. Getting a sink rate alert. All right, there's our runway. Wow, what an adventure. This is the most challenging approach. I cannot believe I didn't die. Looks like somebody's departing. Our approach speed's fine. Yep, somebody's departing off that runway right in front of us. Oh my God, how exciting. Jesus Christ. Oh my God, this is wild. This is a nice long runway, 8,000 feet, so we don't need to get too nervous about it. Yeah, look at that big old plane taking off. Offset threshold. Boy, look at that guy's turning. Oh, he's gonna crash. Not everybody takes this game seriously. Okay, here we go. Idle. Actually, pretty butter landing. We'll go to the right, I think at Alpha 4. brakes. Well, I gotta be honest, folks. I don't know how precision that was. It was completely non-precision. Who am I kidding? That was the most exciting, challenging, interesting approach I've ever done. I would have died if there had been any weather, but there wasn't any weather. Lucky me. That was pretty wild. Also, first time I've ever gotten a sink rate alert. I don't think there's any, well, there is ground. What do you know? Aspen ground, taxi to parking, please. I don't know if I ever bothered to get clearance to land.
Taxi to parking.
Sorry, I was too busy trying not to die.
Delta November 343 Whiskey Bravo, taxi to general aviation parking using taxiway Alpha 2 Alpha.
Alpha 2 Alpha.
Taxiing to general aviation parking via taxiway Alpha 2 Alpha, Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
I turned off the aids to land. Alpha 2 Alpha. It would be more helpful if there was information on the taxi signs. Well, I'm going to assume that Alpha 2 Alpha is over there. Hey, I like them apples. Hey, it's a sim after all. That was the most exciting, most intense, most intimidating approach I've ever done since 2020, since MFS 20. Look at this guy taking off. Off a runway 15. Hey, listen, I only landed at 3-3 because the prevailing wind said that I should. This is where airport familiarity is important. It seems pretty clear that landing on 3-3 is a risky endeavor, wins or no wins. But hey, if anything, that means we ought to get a little credit. I'm just wondering if we can find our ground guys. Maybe that would give me a clue about where I'm supposed to go. That was really wild. I mean, seriously wild. There's a car headed straight at me. Alright, this looks like a good place to park. What do you think? Use our rudder pedals here. I had to turn off the taxiway aids because it glitched and was stuck on some place over in Sedona. So it was like showing that you're 200 miles from your destination. I'm like, well, actually already taken off. Okay, that looks like a nice little lodge. Go in there, got it. If ever there was a flight where I need a cocktail, this is the one. But may I please conclude by observing that
Aural warning, okay.
3 Whiskey Bravo, my beloved Dare TBM 930, 3 Whiskey Bravo, has yet again gotten me to where I needed to go safely, despite my best efforts to crash it. No, I'm kidding. I'd never want to crash it. That was really a high drama. But I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a real challenge. A real challenge. Let me turn off some of this other crap. Okay, all right. Anyway, I mean, it was really difficult. Never had that kind of challenge in an approach before, so that's fun. Depressurize the airplane. Although, frankly, the interior air pressure on the airplane is not that different from the air pressure outside. Inertial separator's off now. This mouse wheel drives me crazy sometimes. Okay. I think we're good. We are good. Flaps, yes, everything's good. Okay. Anyway, really did enjoy that. I have not had a challenge that significant since I started. This looks like a plausible place for an aircraft to park. This bug, do you see this? This red light's still flashing despite me turning off all the lights. Wow, so this is where we came in from, and you were there for it. Front row seat. Right over there. I mean, we literally were touching the pine needles. Could have reached out and grabbed a pine cone right off of this peak right here as we came in. We'll have to do a little more research just out of curiosity as to whether or not, I mean, is it even possible to land it at runway 33? I mean, given some of the challenges I've seen in terms of the landing challenges, you know, I was thinking maybe there's some pretty wild approaches in this game, so it didn't seem implausible that that was one of them. Okay, enough. On the ground in Aspen for the night, and we'll definitely take off tomorrow. It'll be less dramatic than that landing. Have a good one.